before the episode actually begins, I was contacted by someone who asked, hey, would you mind talking about the charity drive thing we're doing and help raise some money? Sure, yes. I said, because I'm a nice guy. So
that's not true. He offered a budget. So Hugo got a blowjob, and now he's in refractory period, so he's nicer than he would be normally.
So, I don't know if you've ever heard of Extra Life, the charity, and what it is basically is, you've heard of like 5K runs where people will donate money and pledge money to a runner to run a certain distance or whatever.
This is a little lazier.
It's like that, but people pledge like, hey, we're gonna get together and play video games for a certain amount of time. And they basically raise money for a charity, and they do it in certain teams. The actual team that contacted me was from California State University of Bakersfield. They have basically a gaming club there, and they do this every year. And last year they actually raised $10,000 for a children's hospital in their area, which is really cool.
Very impressive.
So hopefully we can improve on that and help them. Their goal this year is $16,000, so if you have if you have a minute, maybe $1, there's a link in the description to their donation page, and basically you just pledge, hey, $1 to a person, whatever. Their page explains it. Mm-hmm. But help them go ahead and get that goal. It's for a good cause. It's for Children's Hospital.
And what date is that on?
It's not until October, but you can start donating now.
Cool.
And it'll just do it. You can just set it, and then you won't have to worry about it. It's not like it'll fuck you somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, so without further ado, let's begin in Ruth.
Hugo and Jake. The Bible is jaded, and most of the taken. So get educated with Hugo and Jake. Pull up a pew and stop what you're doing. It's Bible reloaded time. They call it debated, the theist will hate it. I'm talking to taken, but it's Hugo and Jake. So I'm with the show then. It's not candy coated. It's the Bible reloaded with Hugo and Jake. With Hugo and Jake.
Hello everyone, I'm Hugo.
I'm Jake.
And this is the Bible Reloaded.
Yeah.
So this week, for one, I'm just getting over a cold, so I apologize for my voice.
Sexiness.
But,
too much.
We're gonna bear with it.
Too much crotch moisture this week.
Try and move forward.
So what is Ruth? Well, Ruth is a heartwarming story about widows and being married off in a property transaction.
I'm pretty sure there's a Veggie Tales about Ruth, too.
Yeah, because she's looked at as a heroine of the Bible, a strong woman.
Strong, independent woman.
She's not independent, though.
No.
She has to go get a man.
But I mean, by the standards set by the Bible, yes.
Yeah.
Strong in the fact that she has agency in saying, I'm gonna attach myself to someone with a dick so I can do things again.
Yeah.
So, Ruth, here we go.
Ruth!
That was a little Cowardly Lion-esque.
Ruth?
Yeah. Chapter 1. Naomi loses her husband and sons. So...
Spoilers?
Yeah, it's gonna be super uplifting, you can tell. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. The man's name was Elimelech. His wife's name was Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites from Bethlehem, Judah, and they went to Moab and lived there.
Now you'll notice at the beginning of most stories in the Old Testament, there'll be some sort of motif. A very common motif is the famine motif. If there's famine, you know something poor is going to happen to the people involved. So here's a famine, and it's foreboding.
It doesn't shock me that there's a motif of famine in a lot of the Old Testament, because I think that goes for a lot of ancient literature, because there was a lot of famine, and a lot of people died from it.
Yeah, but they use famine as a sort of a religious tool to be like, yeah, see, they were fucking stupid. They didn't have food, because they're stupid.
Yeah, I don't think they're the only ones, though.
No, I agree.
Now Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons.
They don't say how he died.
He died.
Should we make up a backstory?
I don't know, he starved to death.
Famine!
He was trying to fuck an animal, I don't know.
And it killed him?
Sure.
Or the famine killed him mid-fuck?
Both. They married Moabite women, one named Orpah, and the other Ruth. So no Book of Orpah? That's bullshit. Fuck you, Orpah. Both Mahlon and Chilion also died, and Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband.
Well, that was a good opening 2 paragraphs.
It wasn't even really. It was like one
uplift you.
paragraph, just split up. Naomi and Ruth returned to Bethlehem. When Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people and provided food for them, because fuck everyone else other than those people, apparently.
Yep.
She and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. With her 2 daughter-in-laws, she left the place where she had been living and set out for the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Then Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's house. May the Lord show you kindness as you have shown kindness to your dead husbands and me." She's basically like, okay, you're not married to my sons anymore. We don't need to pretend to be friends.
Yeah.
I know this is like a weird this is a weird, awkward situation, but let's cut the bullshit. We don't have to pretend anymore. We can go back to where we were from.
Especially you, Orpah. I don't even fucking like you. You have a weird name. You have a lot of teeth.
May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband. Then she kissed them goodbye. And they wept aloud and said to her, "We will go back with you to your people." And she said,
God damn it. Finally free of the old ball and chain. Want to go live my life. Maybe go to Atlantic City. Get weird for a weekend. But now I got the 2 kids with me. They're not even mine.
But Naomi said, "Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who would become your husbands? I'd hope not. That age difference would be striking."
That would be bad. She mentions that in a second.
"Turn home, my daughters. I am too old to have another husband, even if I thought there was still hope for me. Even if I had a husband tonight, and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters. It is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hands has turned against me." So she can't even imagine them just being like, "It'll be fun, it'll be like Sex in the City, we'll just be friends." No, she's like, no. You only want me for the potential dicks that I can make. At this, they wept aloud again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her.
And then Orpah cried,
"Boo!" "Look," said Naomi, "your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her, you slut."
I like that her people and her gods thing.
Yeah.
Because, based upon your geography at the time, is what gods you like.
Yeah. But Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die.
Whoa.
There I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if death separates you and me." When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her.
And started the heroin.
Ruth has... I mean, I get it. It's supposed to be about, I think, devotion and stuff. But it's
creepy.
Weird that you're that attached to her. I get it. But at the same time, it's framed oddly, I should say. The way in which the level of devotion is that which you should not have for your mother-in-law. You should not say, "When you die, I'll die." What?
No.
So the 2 women went on until they came to Bethlehem. When they arrived in Bethlehem, the whole town was stirring because of them, and the woman exclaimed, "Can this be Naomi? Don't call me Naomi." She said to them, "Call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter."
So Naomi means pleasant, but Mara means bitter. She's a little emo right now.
Yeah. "I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me."
I feel like the husband and sons had far more misfortune than she did.
Yeah, with the death and all.
Yeah.
They're in fucking Sheol. Just, it's the afterlife. I don't know how to describe it. So Naomi returned from Moab accompanied by Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, arriving in Bethlehem as her barley harvest was beginning. How's she gonna reap that harvest, though? No man!
No one even likes barley. Isn't that what sugar snaps are made out of? Barley?
What are sugar snaps?
You've never had sugar snaps?
Never. Honey smacks.
Honey smacks?
Yeah, smacks. Honey smacks is a variety of them, but they're called smacks. The one with the frog?
Is that with the frog?
Yeah.
It's not sugar? You ever had honey smacks?
You can't go back down, man.
No, you have to.
No, I've never had smacks.
You ever had honey smacks?
No. I'm looking at the original mascot, though, on Google Images.
The frog?
It looks fucking...
He's got like a jazz hat on, doesn't he?
The original doesn't look nearly as cool, though.
Oh no, he's just got a big Oh yeah, he's dig 'em.
Dig 'em.
Dig 'em.
He doesn't even have time to dig them. He just digs them. What is he digging?
I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be a black kid. I think that was the 90s, like, hey, can we have a black kid?
I think
Well, no, but we can have a frog and a hat that says dig 'em. That's slang, right?
I'm pretty sure it's the 70s, which explains a lot. It's a rip off a Golden Crisp.
Yeah, that has to be a lot older. I don't know how old those are, but I remember in the 90s they were pretty popular.
Cereal mascots were doing fucking awesome in the 90s. Chapter 2. Ruth meets Boaz in the grain field.
Sounds like the shittiest bodice ripper.
She laid there,
Politely.
amongst the wheat. So much wheat. Wheat everywhere. He stood erect, much like the wheat.
Not his penis, though. Himself.
And then his penis, much like the wheat.
They politely kissed, said goodnight. He went home and masturbated.
And then God cried. Now Naomi had a relative on her husband's side, a man of standing from the clan of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz.
I buy it. He sounds important.
And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go in the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone's eye I find favor."
It's so weird when they qualify the person as the Moabite, like where they came from. They might have well just said, Ruth, the black.
I guess. She's a tawny Moor, as Shakespeare would say.
Oh my god. That's a reach.
Naomi said to her, "Go ahead, my daughter." So she went out, entered a field, and began to glean behind the harvesters. As it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz. That's a coincidence. Who was from the clan of Elimelech.
Okay, so any aspiring writers, if you want to have, like, the element of surprise, and kind of like, oh, what a coincidence, what a good... Don't title the spoiler. Don't put the spoilers in the title. Because now that moment's ruined for me. That's like when you find out Jacob imprinted on the baby, but the name of the movie's called Jacob Imprints on the Baby.
That's so fucked up. Because honestly,
he's gonna fuck that baby.
He's gonna fuck that baby.
He's just waiting to fuck the baby.
I get that he's waiting until the baby is 18 or whatever to start a relationship with that baby. Mm-hmm. But now, what's her name? Now Bella's like best guy friend, other than Edward, obviously, who she's married to. So whatever. But now her best friend is like, every time he comes over, she's gonna be like, man, he's just waiting to fuck this baby.
Yeah.
With him and his abs.
Yeah, they explain it, though, in the movie, so shut the fuck up, Twilight fan girls and boys. I've seen it. They explain it, and they're like, well, it's not really gonna, he's not gonna be able to act on that till later when it actually really takes hold.
It's still weird. He still wants to fuck the baby.
Yeah, he knows he's gonna fuck the baby. Every time he sees the baby, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be inside that baby. Right now, the hole's probably too small. I'll tear it with my wolfman penis. Do you think it's pink? You think when it comes erect, it turns pink?
I think it's the same beautiful mocha color as
each of his abs?
Yeah. Just then, Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted the harvesters. "The Lord be with you!" "The Lord bless you," they answered. Boaz asked the overseer of the harvesters, "Who does that young woman belong to?" The overseer replied, She is the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi. She said, "Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters." She came into the field and has harvested from the morning till now, except for short rest in the shelter. So Boaz said to Ruth, "My daughter, listen to me." That's kind of a weird way to...
Yeah, no.
I get it, but that's not a saying you hear often. Anyways, "My daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. Stay here with the women who work for me. Watch the field where the men are harvesting and follow along after the women. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you."
Otherwise,
they clearly would have slapped the shit out of you.
They would have, not only that, but they would have raped one of those holes.
Oh, yeah. "And whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled." At this, she bowed down her face to the ground and asked him, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner?"
"You have nice tits," he said.
Boaz replied, "I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. How you left your father and mother in your homeland and came to live with the people that you did not know before, and burden her with your presence. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord. the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge.
God has wings now? When did he get those? He got an upgrade.
Oh, you know. May I continue to find favor in your eyes, my lord, she said. You have put me at ease by speaking kindly to your servant, though I do not have the standing of one of your servants. See, now I'm...
You've spoken well to one of your servants, even though I'm not that.
I can't help but imagine this is like Kate Winslet and some handsome gentleman.
Billy Zane.
And sure,
in the Titanic.
Billy Zane.
Before it sunk. When they were happy.
Okay. And they're courting now.
Yeah.
And it's...
I'm in.
It's a bit coy, but you know what's coming, like Pride and Prejudice.
Coy. It's like polite, and they haven't gotten to that point where he accidentally catches her like in the middle of dressing, but she doesn't make him leave.
At mealtime, Boaz asked her, "Come over here, have some bread and dip in the wine vinegar."
Ugh.
When she said, "Sploosh," went her panties. When she sat down with the harvesters, he offered her some roasted grain. She ate all she wanted and had some left of her roasted grain that probably tasted like smacks.
I was gonna say, just like smacks.
As she got up to glean, Boaz gave orders to his men. Let her gather among the sheaves and don't reprimand her. Even pull out some stalks for her from the bundles and leave them for her to pick up and don't rebuke her.
Okay.
They must be thinking, man, he must really want to tap that. So Ruth gleaned in the field until evening. Then she threshed the barley she had gathered, and it amounted to about an ephah. She carried it back down, and her mother-in-law saw how much she had gleaned. Ruth also brought out and gave her what she had left over after she had eaten enough.
Did you just eat raw grain?
Oh, you know. Her mother-in-law asked her, "How did you glean today? Where did you work? Blessed be the man who took notice of you." She even knows, like, you're a woman, you couldn't have done this by yourself. Clearly it's because someone wants to fuck you. That's your value. Then Ruth told her mother-in-law about the one whose place she had been working. "The name of the man I worked today is Boaz," she said. "The Lord has blessed him," Naomi said to her daughter-in-law. "He has not stopped showing his kindness to the living and the dead," she said. "That man is our close relative. He is one of our guardian redeemers."
Yeah, and a guardian redeemer is someone who's closely tied to a family, and he has like a legal obligation to take care of what's remaining of the family if something bad happens.
Which is weird, because he wasn't going to do that, apparently,
No.
until he wanted to fuck this bitch. So
Yeah, so it's kind of like a vagina has to be the catalyst in order for him to actually do this.
Then Ruth and the Moabite said, "He even said to me, 'Stay with my workers until they finish harvesting all my grain.'" Naomi said to Ruth, her daughter-in-law, "It will be good for you, my daughter, to go with the women who work with him, because it's someone else's field you might be harmed." So Ruth stayed close to the women of Boaz to glean until the barley and wheat harvest were finished, and she lived with her mother-in-law. Now we go on to Chapter 3, Ruth and Boaz at the threshing floor.
This is hot and steamy, kids, so try not to pull your dicks or vaginas out.
One day, Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi, said to her, "My daughter, I must find a home for you, where you will be well provided for, because seriously, you need to get out of my house." Now Boaz, whose women you have worked, and relative of ours, tonight he will be winnowing in barley on the threshing floor. Wash, put on perfume, and get dressed on your best clothes.
Then seduce this motherfucker.
Then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking.
So basically, go be a vag ninja.
Vag ninja. Ew. When he lies down, note the place where he is lying, then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do.
Whoa! Sounds like they fucking talked about this already, like... Yeah, and then make her suck him.
"I will do whatever you say," Ruth answered. So she went down to the threshing floor and did everything her mother-in-law told her to do. When Boaz had finished eating and drinking and was in good spirits, he went to lie down at the far end of the grain pile.
You know, where people sleep.
Ruth approached quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down in the middle of the night. Somehow, something startled the man. He turned, and there was a woman lying at his feet.
Who's the woman?
"Who are you?"
That's the way it was written.
Yeah. "Who are you?" he said. "I am your servant Ruth," she said. "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are guardian redeemer of our family." "The Lord bless you, my daughter," he replied. "This kindness is greater than which you showed earlier. You have not run after the younger men, the rich or the poor, And now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask. All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character.
Not one of them hussies.
Although it is true that I am guardian redeemer of your family, there is another who is more closely related than I. Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to do his duty as your guardian redeemer, good. Let him redeem you. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it. Lie here until morning. Hopefully I can pawn this off on someone else,
yeah.
But... So she lay at his feet until morning. Wow, that sounds really fucking sexist somehow to me.
Yeah.
Like she's like at the feet of him and like a dog. You know? But got up before anyone could be recognized, and he said, "No one must know that a woman came to the threshing floor."
Yeah.
Not the threshing floor.
Where we thresh?
He also said, "Bring me the shawl you are wearing and hold it out." When she did so, he poured into it 6 measures of barley and placed a bundle on her. Then he went back to town.
Is that like her payoff? Like, don't fucking tell anyone you were here. Here's some grain.
When Ruth came to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked, "How did it go, my daughter?" "Well, he didn't make me suck his dick like I thought, so."
Well.
Then she told her everything Boaz had done for her, and added, "He gave me these 6 measures of barley, saying, 'Don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" Then Naomi said, "Wait, my daughter, until you find out what happens, for the man will not rest until the matter is settled today." And now, finally, we move on to the last chapter of Ruth. Mm-hmm. I know that was excruciating, because it's only 2 fucking pages long. Boaz marries Ruth. Again, I wish they wouldn't tell us what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Kind of ruined it.
Meanwhile, Boaz went up to the town gate and sat down there just as the guardian redeemer he had mentioned came along. Boaz said, "Come here, my friend, and sit down." So he went over and sat down. Boaz took 10 of the elders of the town and said, "Sit here." And they did also.
Wow.
They were just there, I guess.
He's a shot caller.
Then he said to the guardian redeemer, "Naomi, who has come back from Moab, is selling the piece of land that belongs to our relative, Elimelech. I thought I should bring the matter to your attention and suggest that you buy it, in the presence of these seated here, and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you'll redeem it, do so. But if you will not, tell me, so that I will know. For no one has rights to do it except you, and I am next in line." "I will redeem it," he said. Then Boaz said, "On the day you buy the land from Naomi, you also require Ruth, the Moabite, the dead man's widow, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property. Of course, because most homes come with a woman." At this the guardian redeemer said, "Then I cannot redeem it, because I might endanger your own estate. You redeem it yourself. I cannot do it."
Also, I don't want that bitch.
Now, in earlier times in Israel, for the redemption and the transfer of property to become final, one party took off his sandals and gave it to the other. This was the method of legalizing transactions in Israel.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna just shit on a custom. I know people.
Yeah, it's fine, I guess.
It's weird.
They had writing,
but
they could have written it.
It's relative, you know. So the guardian redeemer said to Boaz, "Buy it yourself," and he removed his sandal. Then Boaz announced to the elders and all the people, "Today you are my witnesses that I have bought the Naomi and all the property of Elimelech, Kilian, and Mahlon. I also have acquired Ruth, the Moabite, Mahlon's widow, as my wife in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property, so that his name will not disappear from among his family or from his hometown. Today you are witnesses to the fact that I wanted to tap that so much I bought a house I didn't need." Verse 11. Then the elders and all the people of the gate said, "We are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the family of Israel." Like Rachel and Leah, do they remember what fucking happened?
They had a fuck off.
They dueling vaginas. We have an episode about it. Yeah, they just tried to out-fuck each other. Literally. Yeah. But whatever. I guess that kind of thing gets lost to time, maybe.
No, apparently not. Still here.
Yeah. May you have standing in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem. Through the offspring the Lord gives you by this young woman, may your family be that of Perez, whose Tamar bore to Judah. So fuck like all these people we're talking about, so you have lots of kids.
Right.
That's what Naomi gains a son. So Boaz took Ruth and she became his wife. When he made love to her, the Lord enabled her to conceive, because he has to okay every single conception. And she gave birth to a son. The woman said to Naomi, "Praise be to the Lord, who this day has not left you without a guardian redeemer. May he become famous throughout Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you, and who is better to you than 7 sons, has given him birth. Then Naomi took her child in her arms and cared for him.
Well, good.
The woman living there said, Naomi has a son. No, it's her grandson.
Yeah.
And they named him Obed. He was the father of Jesse, the father of David, who we will obviously get to.
Yeah.
And then just goes over genealogy, which you're not going to do. So that's Ruth today.
Right.
Went
So
over
basically,
Ruth.
Obed is David's great grandpa.
Yeah.
So you can get a wife in a property transaction. And also apparently once you have your first son, you can just give it to your ex-mother-in-law, and they can just take care of it. Because, kids are a burden.
That's what I usually do.
I don't have any kids that I acknowledge.
So anyways, that's it for this episode. Thanks everyone for watching. You can follow us on Twitter at Bible Reloaded.
Or you could follow Hugo at Hugo Reloaded.
Do that, because I like to discuss things with people.
Yeah. Or you can also visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/TBR, and you can donate $1 or whatever to us an episode. And right now we are 60% on our way to our first goal
of $500.
Yeah. And once we get to that point, this will be our jobs. Like, this will be officially Jake and Hugo. We'll have to make TBR like a thing. We'll have to be employees. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
That's weird. That'd be cool though.
Yeah. So, thanks everyone for watching. Until next time, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this has been the Bible Reloaded.
And next week, Hugo sends me back in time to protect his mother from a Terminator, and then I fuck his mom. I'm his dad.
What?